Business Communication presentation by Daud Javed for the subject Business Writings. Understanding the word communication. Before we understand the term business communication, let us understand the word communication. The word communication is derived from the Latin word communis, which means sharing something, like sharing ideas, experiences, information, and sometimes orders to follow. The 73855 rule. The 73855 rule indicates that only 7% of our communication is done through verbal communication. The words we speak, whereas the nonverbal component of our daily communication, such as the tonality of our voice, make up 38% and 55% from the speaker's body language and facial expressions. Next slide. Business communication is a process that shares information between at least two people within the organization's workplace and outside the organization for a commercial purpose or benefit. Management and employees interact with each other to achieve the organization's goals collectively with effective business communication. Purpose of this practice is to adopt good practices and to overcome errors in the business environment, as well as to improve the quality, quantity, and efficiency of a product or work. Next slide. There are 7 C's of business communication, very important in a business organization. They are: the communication should be clear, concise, concrete, complete, correct, coherent, courteous. Clear. The message should be clear, cut, and easy to understand for the audiences or receiver. Concise. It should be to the point, short and sweet. Concrete. It should be solid, credible, backed by real facts and data. Complete. It should be proper with certain relevant information. Correct. The message should be free of grammar and spelling errors. Coherent. Should be logical, relevant with the main idea. Courteous. It should be cordial, friendly, and well-mannered. Next slide. Ways of communication. There are 4 acknowledged ways of business communication, such as upward communication, downward communication, lateral communication, external communication. Next slide. Upward, downward, and lateral business communication deals with the internal affairs of an organization and how the information is exchanged at the workplace. External communication distinguishes itself from internal communication as it is only happening with external individuals, peoples, and organizations associated with the business. Next slide. Upward communication. When lower level employees communicate with the upper level management, that process is called upward communication. It could be about new ideas, alerts, changes in the industry, or could be any kind of suggestion. Downward communication. When communication flows from the higher level management, from the chief executive officer, CEO, towards the managers, supervisors, to pass on to the team members and workers. Next slide. Lateral communication. When communication is shared between the same level workers, team members about their way of working, ideas, tasks, concerns, and feelings. And if understood nicely, could be positive, or it can create a grapevine or rumors sometimes. External communication. When a business organization communicates with external individual entities or any organization, it is called external business communication, such as investors, suppliers, independent contractors, customers, general public, media, and any regulatory authorities. Next slide. Categories of business communication. Verbal communication, where you listen a person and understand what is the message. Written communication, where the receiver receives the message. Nonverbal communication, where observing a person's gestures or through his body language. Next slide. On the basis of audiences, level of education, experience, culture, cultural and social norms, the same words, phrases, and sentences have different meanings that could lead towards positive as well as negative effects. If any issue arises through grapevine or otherwise should be addressed properly, messages could be through phone calls, conference calls, by audio, video, and social media. It should always be respectful and acceptable to the people of all walks of life. That strategy will lead to a successful business communication. References. There are two references mentioned on this slide. Number one, the 738-55% rule, and the second one is the 7 C's adopted in the effective business communication. And that is the end of the news. And thanks for your time. Again, thank you for your attention.